Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Blogs. Welcome to the Premier Division show. In this show, we're going to look back at the three games that were played over the course of the weekend and look ahead and give our predictions to all five games, which are supposed to be on Friday evening. Hopefully they all go ahead. Obviously the weather caused havoc again. Shamrock Rovers was called off. Shamrock Rovers yet to kick a ball, and St Patrick's Athletic and Galway United was also called off. But we did have three games down for decision, and some interesting games, some interesting stuff. And I tell you what, next week we're set for a bumper league. If you're new around here, please hit that subscribe button and please hit the like button if you like the content. Let's get straight into this one. First up, at the Ryan McBride Brandywell, it finished Derry City 2, Dundalk 2. And this was Dundalk's first game of the season. They had their game called off, of course, at Tallaght Stadium against Shamrock Rovers. And I suppose Derry rescue a point late in the game after Cornwall was adjudged to have pulled one of the Derry City players. I personally think it was a penalty. He's certainly given the referee an excuse to give the penalty. And he gave the penalty. Duffy stepped up and dispatched it with aplomb to earn Derry a point. And I suppose from Derry's point of view, they look at it and say 4 points for the first two games. Not too bad. Well, home games, but they'll say not too bad. But at the same time, they kind of rescued both games a little bit, didn't they? With late winners and late equalisers, which is not ideal. But at the same time, it could have been a lot worse for them. Dundalk would be pleased but disappointed, funnily enough, that they didn't pick up the 3 points at the Brandywell here. Owen Kenny puts them in the lead after 21 minutes. Patrick McLean equalises after 49 minutes. Arubi came on as a sub after 65 and scored. I thought the goalkeeper Callister could have done better. He made his debut. Brian Maher missing his first game for a long time. But Dundalk, I think fans would have been disappointed with the late goal, obviously, but they'd be very pleased and very encouraged by the performance. And I did say it before the season started, there's goals in this Dundalk team, and to get 2 goals at the Brandywell is fantastic for them. Derry City still have a lot of figuring out to do, I think, because they've so many new players as well. So picking up points here and there, like at this point of the season, early doors, is going to be valuable for them. But still a few strange decisions for me. Winchester playing as a right back. I think he missed his trust in midfield. Still question whether James McLean should play in midfield as well for Derry City, where his best role in the team could actually be. So there's still question marks there with Derry City. But they did have chances in this game. A couple were cleared off the line. J.R. Wilson clears one off the line. And McDade also clears one off the line. He cleared off the line from Fleming. And Wilson cleared off the line from Winchester. Duffy hits the post as well a couple of minutes just before from a free kick, just before they get the penalty. So, it's going to take time for Derry City to really get into gear and click. And Tiernan Lynch, probably spend the first 9 games or so trying to figure out what the best way is going forward in terms of personnel and where they should play and even possibly system. They're a bit like that last year as well. Still though, on paper 4 points out of 6 isn't bad. Now I know the pessimistic Derry fan will say, but there were home games and Shamrock Rovers haven't played yet, for example. There's a chance to really put pressure on the likes of Rovers and say be on 6 points. But they could have lost this game and they could have not won the game at the Brandywell against Sligo Rovers. They could have drew that game even. So you could be sitting here and Derry City could be on 1 point after 2 games. So in that regard, 4 points is quite good. As for Dundalk, performance-wise, they'll be delighted. They'll be absolutely delighted. I still think there's a few question marks on them defensively, but they'll be absolutely delighted with that point going into the Louth Derby next week at Oriel Park, which promises to be absolutely fantastic, particularly with Drogheda to win their first 2 games. That's a game I'll be at too. Looking forward to that one. We'll get into that one later on, but for now it's good for Dundalk as well, for a couple of their forward players to get off the mark, and Danny Mullen is another attacker that I think will score goals this season. So good performance for Dundalk. A good point for Dundalk, even though they will be disappointed that they didn't get all 3. Now at Sullivan Land Park finished Drogheda United 2, Waterford FC 0. I was at this game as well and I vlogged it, so keep an eye on that vlog. And I would say don't write Drogheda off this season in terms of possibly getting a European place. Certainly top 4. honestly. They definitely have a chance. Once again, you look at them and you look at them live and you say, like, their work rate and their desire and their hunger and their intensity is top notch. It really is. They do that better than any other team in the league, in my opinion. Combined with good football in this game, and the likes of Mark Doyle's going to score a lot of goals from this season. He had a good game for them. Very solid at the back as well. But Shane Farrell's goal after 3 and Mark Doyle's goal after 10, and the game was over, in my opinion, after 10 minutes. No way were Waterford getting back into this game after going 2 down to Drogheda, who are very solid defensively as well. I just couldn't see it. They hit the bar from a speculative effort, Waterford, later on in the game. Apart from that, you couldn't see them score. Drogheda just battered them early doors. They went at them with intent. Waterford weren't ready for whatever Drogheda literally were throwing at them. And, Farrell's goal, there was a chance just before that. I think it might have hit Mark Doyle and got cleared the chance that Drogheda had, as in hit their own player. But the ball falls out on the edge to just inside the box, actually, to Shane Farrell. And there's a great view on it in the vlog, actually, to be honest. And it's a clean strike with his left boot, 1-0. 7 minutes later, Mark Doyle makes it 2-0 after great work from Conor Kane and Thomas Alua. And Doyle, he's always in that area where he picks up scraps and stuff as well. And he was unlucky late in the game when he takes 2 Waterford players out of the game with a drag, and his shot was saved by the goalkeeper. But very solid at the back again, the back 3. Bernie, Keeley, Quinn, very solid. Wing backs quite decent, Eshabai and Kane. But for me, Ethan O'Brien in the middle of the park was outstanding for Drogheda United. I thought he was brilliant. Got round on the pitch, good on the ball, good off the ball. Just a good all-round midfield display, actually, from him. And very good result for Drogheda United. And 6 points from the first 2 games going into the game, the Louth Derby next week, and 2 clean sheets. They'll be absolutely delighted with that. So they will. And as for Waterford, from their point of view, it's disappointing. I mean, you probably go to Drogheda, Waterford, and they're thinking to themselves, let's keep it tight in the first 10-15 minutes, and you're 2 down, the game is nearly over. They couldn't deal with it. They weren't ready for it. Why, I don't know, but they just didn't look like a team that were ready for what Drogheda were throwing at them, especially early doors there. And you're putting yourself under an awful lot of pressure being 2 down against a side like Drogheda away from home in the first 10 minutes. And they went with Carty, Ammond and Lonergan up front as such. When I say as such, it's hard to know exactly what they're doing, what formation, what the system is with the 3 of them there, but it's not working. They're leaving themselves very short in midfield, because if you've got McLaughlin and Noonan who like to get ahead of the ball, Glenfield can't do all the work in the middle of the park himself. And they're being countered very easily. And Drogheda done that time and time again. Countered very easily. And at times it looks like Lonergan's on one wing and Carty's on the other wing. Ammond obviously up top, but then other times the 3 look very narrow. And as I said, Conan, Conan Noonan Coonan, we call him Coonan for the laugh, likes to be ahead of the ball. Evan McLaughlin likes to be ahead of the ball, so they look very isolated in the middle of the park, and that's just not working. It didn't work against Shells. They changed it and it improved, so I was very surprised to see that set up again. And Luke Heaney, of course, against his former club, playing right back, did a good job, actually, I thought. But you want him in midfield, really. Ideally, I know they're looking for a right back still, and they need to improve that defensively as well. But that's not working for them, and it won't. I can't see that working for them either. So yeah, disappointing. But hopefully, from Waterford's point of view, John Daly does change that. But Drogheda United 2, Waterford FC 0. Finally, on Saturday, this is a game I actually watched live on TV at the showgrounds, where it finished Sligo Rovers 0, Bohemians 4. Rooney after 2 minutes, Whelan after 54, 64 and 67 minutes, completing a hat-trick. And I'll start with Sligo Rovers first. Very disappointing from their point of view. First home game of the season. Didn't lay a glove on Bowes. I'll get into Bowes later. No intensity, no aggression. The opposite to what you saw against Derry City the week before, and it was a soft pitch, and Sligo just didn't deal with the conditions at all, whereas Bowes did. And I was looking at them as well. They obviously go a goal down early doors from a Sligo Rovers perspective here, and I was looking at them when they were when it was half time, and I was saying to myself at half time, to be honest, they'd be happy they're only 1-0 down. Maybe they can get into it. They never did. But I was looking at their bench and I was going, there's not too many game changers on the bench. They need to add and add quickly. I think Patton and Quirk struggled in the middle of the park together. They were overrun big time by Bowes' midfield. Defensively, they struggled. They couldn't get a foothold in the game. I think as an attacking threat, they struggled as well. They struggled everywhere, all over the pitch. And to be honest with you, they could have lost by more. Bowes could have got a few more later in the game. Didn't threaten Bowes at all. And, you know, some of that you could say is down to Bowes, of course, the way they played, but you can still bring that intensity and work rate and real commitment to the cause. I didn't see it with Sligo on the night. Bowes, I did. Bowes played, I have to say, Bowes scored after 2 minutes anyway, Dale Rooney, and get a great start. First of all, it's a horrendous goal for Sligo Rovers to give away, so they've started off on that foot. But Bowes changed it a little bit to the Pats game. They went with two up front. They went with Whelan and Dougie. And I thought to myself, and I've always said this with Colin Whelan, Colin Whelan suits playing with with a partner up front. He doesn't suit playing up front in his own. And especially now, if you look at most of the teams in the league, Sligo didn't play like that, but a lot of the teams in the league are now playing three at the back. It's difficult for a striker or centre forward to play up front in his own. You know, Whelan wouldn't be the most aggressive forward, either with Dougie. Dougie likes to link up the play with a striker. And they wouldn't be the best at holding it up, certainly not against two big, or in some cases, three big centre-backs. But what Whelan is, he's a goal scorer, and he's a good finisher, and he's good movement. And we saw evidence of that. His first goal in 54 minutes, he took very well, I thought, especially in a soft pitch. He takes around the keeper. That could bobble anywhere, that finish. Excellent finish. 64 minutes, nice little move, actually. Lovely finish again by Whelan. And then completes it with a penalty, in which it was a penalty as well. Ridiculous foul, by the way, from Sligo Rovers there too. But excellent performance from Colin Whelan. I think if Bowes continue to play two up front, it'll suit both strikers they have, Dougie and Whelan. It really will. And I thought they moved the ball very, very well, Bowes. I was impressed with how they moved the ball. You could easily get caught up in a pitch like that and be a bit passive and be a bit slow, but they were getting the ball through the thirds very quickly. Devoy and Flores, I think, were excellent. Devoy in particular was brilliant. Tierney was playing in the 10. He was causing mayhem as well. The wing backs, Rooney and Powers, the wing backs, played well too. Good energy about them. Rooney can definitely play as a wing back. And it was just a really, really good performance on the road from Bowes. And, you know, to do it on a pitch, as I said, that's soft, to play good football, because they did play good football. They moved it quickly through the thirds, as I said there, and there was no passive passing and slow passing. And they kept going, by the way. They could have had a couple of more goals after they scored the fourth. They made a few subs and that. And that's the thing, there is a depth in their squad, Bowes. I said that at the start of the season. And I think that Alan Reynolds would be absolutely delighted with that performance, to be honest with you. Like, as I said, Sligo were poor, and this is the first goal, you shoot yourself in the foot a little bit. But you have to be able to go and take advantage of it. And Bowes 100% took advantage of it. And, you know, brilliant performance of Bohemians, an absolutely fantastic result. Sligo Rovers 0, Bohemians 4. On Friday, we've got, hopefully, the weather doesn't kill us here, but hopefully we've got 5 games. There's supposed to have 5 games on Friday, and I tell you what, there's some big games on Friday. No disrespect to Shelbourne and Galway, it's obviously a good game, but Derry City, Bows, Dundalk, Drogheda, Louth Derby, Shamrock Rovers and Pats, and Rovers' first game of the season. And Waterford FC and Sligo Rovers, in terms of both, were very disappointing at the weekend, and probably our relegation candidates, if I'm honest with you. So that's a very intriguing game as well. But we'll start off with Derry City and Bows, and obviously Derry City's third game in a row. And from what I've seen of them in terms of 90 minutes, if Derry don't perform better than they did in the 90 minutes against Sligo Rovers and Dundalk, Bows will beat them. No two ways about it, Bows will beat them. Now, Bows will probably say to themselves, great performances, Sligo Rovers. Can we go and put a similar performance in again against Derry? That doesn't mean go and win 4-0, by the way, but similar performance. Rennie does have a habit, and he has a big squad, and there might be a temptation to make changes at times, but he does have a habit of making unnecessary changes. If I was him and everyone was fit, I'd be playing the exact same team that played against Sligo Rovers. Also, Derry are one of the other teams at the moment that seem to be playing two centre backs. They were playing three last year, unless he changed it here in Lynch himself. But Whelan and Dougie against two centre backs could be interesting. Be interested to see if Derry go with Winchester again, I think, as well, on right back, or if McLean plays in midfield again. Now, Derry could come out and perform better, but I'm saying if they don't, I think Bohs will beat them. I fancy Bohs in this one, to be honest with you. I think Bohs might go there and win and get another win on the road. They may not get a clean sheet, though. Derry City, I think there's more potential in Derry City in terms of winning the league, but I think there's an awful lot to gel at the moment, and I think Bohs, if Bohs don't get a point, I think they'll be disappointed anyway. If they come away with nothing, they'll be very disappointed. I'm going to go for a Bohs win here. I'm going to go for Derry City 1, Bohemians 2. Let me know what you think in the comments. Talca Park, Shelbourne take on Galway United, and of course both teams didn't play last week. They don't really have form coming into the game. Shells obviously played up in Waterford, played well in the first half, and probably felt they should have won. Galway will be very disappointed with that defeat at home to Drogheda, the way it actually happened as well. It's an interesting game. Drogheda, Galway United tried to be physical coming into the game, so they will, but I'd argue they're not as physical as last year. I'm still not sure what Shell's best front two is, because they're playing with a front two pretty much now. Obviously, you've got Sean Boyd there. You've got Martin there, who scored in the opening day at Waterford. And you have Meepo and Freitas there. We know nothing about Freitas, to be honest. But if they go two up front, what do they go with? Probably go Meepo and Martin again, to be honest with you. I think, probably, unless something happens in training that we see or don't see or whatever. But I'd imagine that it's a tough start for Galway United. I think, they would have been going to Pats now, going to Shells, and it's a difficult start. It's difficult to see where they're going to get the goals, where the goals are going to come from. They've lost 11, etc. at the back, so they have to find a way to be very solid again this season. Maybe more solid even, because I honestly don't see where the goals are going to come from. Talca Park will be soft. The pitch will be soft, regardless. I don't see how Shells don't win the game. I'm saying that now, I'm laughing because they probably won't now, but I do think they'll win the game. I'm going to go for Shelbourne 2, Galway United 0. Let me know what you think in the comments. The RSC, Waterford FC take on Sligo Rovers. Interesting game. When Sligo get a battering like they did on Saturday, they usually come back and respond with a win. Now, Waterford will want to respond themselves because it was a poor enough performance from them in Drogheda as well, to be honest. But they need to make changes, Waterford. They need to change the system a little bit and find a bit more balance. They need to be a bit more combative in midfield. They can't be so top heavy, so they need to make those changes. Sligo Rovers got a battering a couple of years ago up in Drogheda as well. They lost 7-0. The next week, guess who they played? Waterford FC, and they beat Waterford 3-0. I trust Sligo Rovers more at the moment, even though they were the poor the two teams at the weekend, because Sligo have done this before. Now, I did mention how they don't have too many game changers in the bench. Sligo Rovers need players, in my opinion. Their midfield looks a bit lightweight for me, but so does Waterford's actually. Waterford, I'd argue, have a stronger threat in attacking areas, but I'm just not convinced that John Daly will change it too much. I think you can have too many up top, like they've had, in a way that there's no real creativity as such, and they get countered very easily. I'm going for Sligo on this one. Waterford FC 1, Sligo Rovers 2. Let me know what you think in the comments. Derby, I'll be at this game. Really looking forward to it. The first Louth Derby in the league for 2 years. Early in the season, Drogheda at the top of the league, 2 wins, 2 clean sheets. Dundalk with that impressive performance up at the Brandywell where they were unlucky not to get a win. If you like, both teams are coming into this with form and confidence. It's going to be really, really interesting. Really interesting. I think the difference between the two teams at the moment for me is overall is that Drogheda United are more solid defensively. Not just at the back with the defenders, but as a team, as a unit. You could argue that Dundalk at the moment have a little bit more attacking threat, particularly if Warren Davies is still out. Um, Lewis doesn't score too many goals. You've got Mark Doyle, of course, but with Mullen, Kenny, Arubi particularly, there's goals in that Dundalk side. Um, and I can see Dundalk trying to attack Drogheda, and I can see Drogheda hitting them on the counter. New pitch at Oriel as well. Looking forward to that one, to be honest, as well. Now, Dundalk will be hoping to bring the passion, won't they? And hoping to bring the enthusiasm and energy at home, like a derby brings. You never know in a derby, a player could be sent off as well, and then the whole thing changes. But, logically, I'm thinking Drogheda might pinch this, to be honest with you. So I'm going to go Dundalk 1, Drogheda United 2. Let me know what you think in the comments. Tal Stadium, Shamrock Rovers take on St Patrick's Athletic. This is arguably the most toughest one to predict at the weekend, to be honest with you, because Rovers haven't kicked the ball in the league yet, have they? I know they played in the President's Cup a few weeks ago, but not only that, Pat's playing the Aviva game, which was a poor game, and as I said, the Aviva game, open day of the season, big pitch, lads not match fit, very difficult to judge them or Bowes in that particular game, to be honest with you. So this is like completely blind, if you like. We know the players and showing both sides. Then there's a question with Pat's, a couple of players, Roma Palmer and Max Mata. Are they going to be fit and available? Pat's played 2 up front at the Aviva against Bowes. Are they brave enough to go 2 up front in Tala against Shamrock Rovers? Because they could be overrun in midfield if they do. They went with a similar system a couple of seasons ago when Rovers, or last season, wasn't it? Near enough. When Rovers battered the Saints by 4-0. But this is something Pats have been working on the pre-season, so it might be a little bit different. I suppose from a Pats point of view, if you want to play Rovers at Tallaght Stadium, you want to play them when they seem a bit cold, as in no games in a couple of weeks, etc. It's probably the best way. But Pats aren't exactly coming into it with a batch of matches behind them either, so it's a difficult one to judge, and I don't think I've called a draw yet, which is a bit weird for me, isn't it? But I do think this will be very, very tight. I do think even if Matt isn't fit, Pat's got 2 up front. I think they'll probably go Edmondson and Keena. They'll probably go Levy in behind. He'll have to play an awful lot better the way he did in the Aviva. I'd imagine Bagley and Lennon in the middle of the park still. And I don't see many changes unless there's injuries. El Bazzetti should be available. He'll probably play wing back unless he wants to go safer and go with Boyce, who's a better defender. Rovers, difficult to judge. Trevor Clark is fit, so I have a feeling he'll play left wing back. I can see Victor playing in the side. Will Noonan play ahead of Gaffney? That'll be an interesting one as well. And they're still strong in midfield with Byrne, Watts and Healy. And that's the worry from Pat's point of view, that they get overrun a little bit in there. If Pats go with the 2, with Bagley, let's say, or any 2 really, but Bagley and Lennon, let's say, could get overrun in there. Will Pats be tempted maybe to drop Levy and play 3 in midfield? But also play 2 up front. That's the interesting thing. But it's definitely an interesting game. It's a tough one to call. I'm going to say Shamrock Rovers 1, St Patrick's Athletic 1. So guys, that's about it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Any points about the games at the weekend gone, or any predictions. Give us a couple of predictions. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you later. Bye bye.